Here we go, College Football Payoff Podcast. We are back. It's week 5, episode. What episode we at, Fuji?
62.
62. There's Fuji. I'm Dan. We're back after another week. Another exciting week, actually, in college football. I mean, it was the most anticipated week
Of the season.
so far, yeah. And I mean, some of the games were fantastic. Some of them were kind of shit, but some were
We got some
fantastic.
really good games last week.
Yeah. Uh, Real quick, we'll jump into the cards, then we'll talk about what we learned and kind of recap a little bit. Then we'll just get right into it. So, starting with mine, last week, coming off the 3-0 week, went 1-2. The one win was Maryland -6.5 against Michigan State. That program is starting to implode, so more into that later. Losses were Oregon State -2.5, and then the Colorado Oregon over. That was a loss. Colorado just did not help with anything. Again, I'll talk about that more coming up with the podcast as well. But Oregon took care of business like they should, and man, they made Colorado players really eat their words. It
Yeah,
was kind of funny, but
Dion was silent all week. He knew it was coming.
yeah, that's true. But the players weren't. Man, the
No,
players
once
on
they
the
got on
field,
the field,
jeez,
yeah. I mean, you got to pump yourself up if you're going into a game, but
yeah. The Thunder for me, under 38.5 Minnesota Northwestern. They ended up playing 2 overtimes. They both ended up scoring 35 points, so that was a loss. But I did hit the money line with Georgia Tech. That was a win. And then Billy's best bet. I think he rode with Florida State -2.5. We were watching that at the golf outing. That was a exciting game, but he's 1-0 so far. So we'll have another Billy's best bet this week as well. Shout out Billy.
thank you, Billy.
There we go. All right.
Premier League, Billy.
Oh yeah, Premier League Billy. So we're also going to be in contact with him to get us some Premier League soccer action. He'll hook us up with some winners. I know he does quite well over there. All right. What about you? What happened with your? Oh, my overall record on the season is 8-6. So still positive 8-6 on the season.
Last week, I went 1-1-1 at the second push all time in college football payoff history, I guess. The last time I had a push on the podcast with the pick was in 2020. So here we are in 2003 or 2023. Holy shit. Um, 1-1-1 last week. One with Texas A&M -7.5. That was personally my biggest bet of the week. Felt really good there, although they almost blew it when Auburn recovered in the late in the fourth quarter, midway through the fourth quarter. Auburn took back like a 70-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. It was their only touchdown of the day. So had a nice little sweat there in the fourth quarter, but ended up covering that. Oklahoma lost, so this is the reality of it. I was on the pod last week, said I already bet the number at -14, but then but at the time of recording the pod, there were no 14s available, so I had to take 14.5. Ended up taking another juice 13.5 the morning of the game, so that juice 13.5 covered, pushed in my original bet in real life, and lost on the pod. So I'll be a man of honor, and I will say that is officially a loss. And then the Ohio State Notre Dame game last week, probably the best game of the week. We got really lucky that they threw 1 second back up on the clock to get my push because that was a 16-14 game through and through with scoring the last play of the game. But once they got the 1 second back up in 9 days, so weirdly deciding to kick that extra point instead of just snapping and taking a knee when you're
I don't think that runs out the clock though.
no, but snapping and taking a knee takes away the potential of Notre Dame blocking it and taking it back to tie the game.
And Ohio State has gotten burned with block. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
wow, I
in the
didn't even think
past.
of that.
So
Holy.
that was a really weird decision, but I take it because it saved me some money. I got the money back from the bet. So 1-1-1 last week, 7-7-1 on the year. So we're at a good place right now to hit a little nice 3-win surge and move ahead here on the season.
Yeah, I mean, pod is positive so far. What we've learned, I mean, listen, Colorado, they can talk, but their defense, man, their defense is going to give up a lot of points this year, and it's going to be a tougher task this week against Caleb Williams and USC. That's going to factor into one of my plays this week. But yeah, Colorado, listen, they're bringing out all the fanfare. They're bringing out all the celebrities and whatever you want to have. But at the end of the day, they really can't stop anyone on defense. So that's kind of a struggle. I think Dion even had a quote talking to his one son that he asked why he wanted the defense to go out first all the time. He said it's because he doesn't trust him and he trusts his offense more because his offense is doing the job. So Colorado, their defense is just going to give up points. It's going to be high scoring affairs if their offense can score. I mean, Oregon, that's a tough place to play. You go into Oregon, wherever they go to play, man, it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be very tough because they have a target on their back. They could be 0-5 and they're still going to have a target on their back because of who their coach is and the culture he's built. But
And the recruiting, he's stealing these recruits from
he
these
did,
other blue chip programs that they're going to take every chance they can to run it up on Colorado. Colorado figures out the men in the trenches by next year. They're going to be something to reckon with in the new and improved Big 12 that they'll be entering.
yeah. And so there's Colorado for you. Ohio State. Listen, I haven't been as high on Ohio State as I normally am in the past. That game was it was a football
That was
game,
my
man.
favorite game to watch all
That
weekend,
was a
maybe of the year.
that was a great game to watch. I'm still not sold on Ryan Day's play calling, but he made it work. Kyle McCord at times I thought looked scared, but that last drive, man, he had some balls throwing some of those passes. That pass that got him down to the one at the very end there. Sam Hartman had a rough day, but I think, and it kind of surprised me that he didn't have the day that he was going to have because Ohio State only ran zone defense. But talking about it, it was frustrating to watch because Ohio State's zone defense, quarterbacks going to be able to pick them apart for short yardages. But when they got down closer to the end zone, it was very tough to score. So I guess giving up the short passes in lieu of the deep shots that Hartman likes to take that won him the game.
I will say one thing that I took away was, man, Notre Dame ran at will.
Oh
They
yeah,
they ran the ball right down.
they ran five running backs.
Yeah, I mean when you have fresh legs all game, that's pretty good. What Ohio State's been missing that weird lineman that they've had over the years. Like
Hmm.
there's no Chase Young or Bosa on that field right now.
We've been waiting for Jack Sawyer. He hasn't come around yet. I don't
I
know if
don't
he
think he
will.
will. Yeah.
Petit Frere, not Petit Frere. I'm sorry. John Baptiste. He transferred from Ohio State to Notre Dame. He was going to be one of the highly touted guys, but he's at Notre Dame now, and he did pretty well. But yeah, like you said, they haven't had the Chase Youngs or the Bozas come through, so we'll see. And then last thing for me is Michigan State. It's they fired. I think they came out today said they're firing Mel Tucker with cause.
Officially.
With cause, so you know that that's going to have some kind of a lawsuit, I would assume, to come with it. I feel like there's just going to be a black cloud over that program all year. It's going to be tough for him to play, so I know I got to play against them this week just because of the fact that, what's going on with them. So keep an eye on that. Other than that, man, that's what we learned. You got anything else from last week that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I got some things that I learned. Um, just real quick, go down the line here. West Virginia defense, good. USC defense, bad.
Yep.
Dude, Penn State might be a legit team. I am very worried about Ohio State after last week. I know Iowa can't score a point if their life depended on it, but Penn State putting up 31 points on that defense is pretty impressive to me. Washington offense, probably the best offense in the country.
Man, they might be a playoff team.
Utah's defense is what will win them the Pac-12 this year if they end up playing the same way and Cam Rising comes back healthy, which we'll
He's
get
not
to it.
coming back
We'll
this
get
week.
to it later. I
Yeah,
think he
we'll get to it
absolutely comes
later,
back
but
this week.
yeah,
Alabama defense really good. Cam Ward from Washington State, really good quarterback. I'm really happy to see him turn it on this year because last year when he transferred from FCS to Washington State, he didn't live up to the hype. So it's really good to see him develop. Florida, I think their defense is really good. Any other good or bads? Oh, Michigan State bad.
Yeah, it's Michigan State. It's going to be a tough year for Michigan State.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? All right, you ready to jump into the cards or what?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Do you have anything Thursday, Friday?
Not an official pod play. No, I do not.
I do have a Friday official pod pick, so I will start it off.
Let's rock out.
Utah, Oregon State. You said we were going to talk about Cam Rising. Well, Utah, Oregon State. Um, I don't have the odds pulled up on it right now. I just got my looks, so let me pull that up. But this is Friday night at Oregon State, 9 o'clock game. Big thing here is Cam Rising. Is Cam Rising going to play? Is he not going to play? He's been taking half the snaps, but the last thing that I read was he's he's cleared to go through practices, but I don't think he's cleared to go through full football activities just yet. Like they're not confident that he's going to play. He's still marked as questionable, which football injury like designations this year, well, throughout the years have been changed. You used to have probable, questionable was kind of like, yeah, they're not playing. Doubtful was for sure they're not playing instead of out. Now it's questionable, they might play, things like that. So I don't think he plays. And that's the reason why I'm going to take Oregon State with the points here. They're at home. I'm trying to pull up the most recent odds. So yeah, it opened at 2.5. It's at 3 right now. You can get a 3 at Caesars.
Can. Yes.
Uh, so I am going to take Oregon State uh, with -3. It's a ranked game. I mean, 19th ranked Oregon State, 10th ranked Utah. Utah's 4-0 straight up. They're 2-1-1 against the spread. Last week, beat UCLA 14-7. That's kind of where it's kind of iffy for me. I don't know if UCLA is to the caliber that Oregon State is. Oregon State lost last week to Washington State, Cam Ward. That was a 38-35 game. I think coming off both teams coming off of kind of like subpar performances, you take the home points here. Total set at 44.5, so they're not thinking too high scoring. But Utah's going to be missing Cam Rising and Brandon Rose at quarterback, as well as Michael Pittman, wide receiver. And Oregon State's got a wide receiver out as well as a linebacker, but I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Utah's defense was pretty good. They held UCLA to 7 points, 243 total yards. So their defense, like you said, they're good. Um, their defense has to pick up. It's just Utah's offense right now can't really move the ball. Uh, they're 22.3 points a game. They're 300 yards total offense, which is like 113th in the country. 157 passing yards, which is 120th in the country. They do run the ball, but here's where I think you're going to come into an issue is that last week they ran the ball 74% of the time. The quarterback is a freshman, Nate Johnson. Him and Rising, like I said, they're splitting reps this week, which if Rising's not playing, you shouldn't be splitting reps with a freshman. That if you know that freshman's got to play, he's got to get as many reps as possible, especially if last week he only threw 17 times, had 117 yards. But I don't know if they're banking on running the ball all week, what they're going to do here. I think they're kind of banking on their defense holding it together for them. Uh, Oregon State, their rushing attack is, I mean, they're good. They got, DJ Uyunglele is quarterback over there. He's a veteran guy. He knows how to throw to his tight ends. That's how they get, they 5-yard touchdown, minute 12 left in a 21-point fourth quarter. It's Oregon State is going to run the ball. They have a veteran quarterback, but they're going to run the ball. They had 242 yards on the ground. That's like 6 yards a carry. Cam Ward last week for Washington State is what won him that game. But Oregon State scoring close to 40 points a game, which is good for 20th in the country. Their offense is firing at 460 yards a game. That's 26th. and their rushing is top 10, 224 yards. I think their offense is too much right now. Yeah, you can bank on, you can sit back and kind of lean on Utah's defense here, but without Cam Rising, that offense, it's just predictable. They're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball. Their defense, Oregon State's defense, is going to just chalk them up. They're going to sell out for the run. They're going to make a freshman who has to split reps beat them. Uh, and it's a Friday night home game for Oregon State. I think this is easy. I think Oregon State takes it. And you know what? I actually have Billy backing me up on this.
Uh-oh.
Billy's best bet of the week. He did come in. I didn't tell him anything about my card. He said he likes Oregon State -3.5 the most. I'm going to give him -3. So my
Okay.
pick's -3.5 or -3. So is Billy's.
So great review of the game. Great preview. But would your bet change if Cam Rise ends up playing?
Shit. Damn it, you got me.
No, it's all good.
I don't
Here,
think it. No, I don't think it does because their I think that he'll be kind of limited in his playing.
okay. No, man, that's fine. I'll put my tinfoil hat on for a second.
Okay.
I think he's playing. I think he was originally supposed to come back for Pac-12 play, which was last week, but they decided not to play him because they knew their defense could stop a freshman quarterback over UCLA. I think this is the perfect week for him to start against a ranked opponent because they have a bye the week after. So he's going to get banged up a little bit in this game. It's his first game back since tearing his ACL. He'll play a little bit, but he'll have 2 full weeks for his body to recover for Cal on October 14th. So I think just because he's going to have 2 weeks off after this one, he ends up starting.
Okay, but here's where I think of it is if they have a bye week next week, what's the point of putting him out there if he's not fully ready to go with a chance of getting banged up, chance of getting injured again when you can give him an extra week of rest? I don't think he plays. As of what's today, the 27th?
Yeah.
So the most recent update that I see is 11:22 a.m. this morning. Kyle Whittingham had no news to break on Cam Rising's status. There's still stuff to figure out medically. He's not playing. But if
Okay.
he does,
Okay. He warmed up last week.
that's great. Did he play
Full
last week?
uniform.
Did he play last week?
No, we'll see. We'll
He
see.
still he split reps last week too in practice. He's doing the same thing this week.
Okay.
All right, Oregon State is my bet, and it's Billy's best bet. So
I mean, we're rolling.
if I got Billy backing me up, I'm good.
My Premier League Billy.
Yeah, I'll hit him up right now. All right, what do you got?
I have I bet this I hammered this game actually by my standards on Monday or on Sunday when this line came out, expecting it to shoot up another 2 or 3 points, but it's exactly where we got it, and we have to take it at 14.5. So, oh wait, is that 14? No, 14.5 across the board, 15.5 some places, but we're gonna go Georgia minus 14.5, visiting Auburn. Um, we all know Georgia, back-to-back national champions, elite defense. They recycled through guys just like Alabama did in the past. Not worried about them at all. This is more of a fade of the Auburn Tigers and the absolute dog shit offense that they put out on the field every week. Fun fact about the Georgia Bulldogs: they have allowed only 87 rushing yards a game this year. Opponents are only averaging 87, less than 100 yards rushing against them. They have an awesome defensive unit that stops the run at all costs. So Auburn's going to be thrown forced to pass. Who's Auburn's quarterback? Hayden Thorne.
Hmm.
Bum.
Yeah, terrible.
Hayden Thorne. Um, I thought this line is definitely like good up to like 17. So I found this at minus 14.5. It's my biggest bet of the season so far on paper.
It's true.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not nervous about this Auburn team whatsoever. Maybe I'll be on here next week saying that I regret that, but from what I've seen over the past few weeks, like congratulations, your two biggest. Well, you beat Cal, uh, team that was terrible last year and is still really bad this year, 14-10, and you had to do it on the last drive of the game. Besides that, your other two wins are against UMass and Samford, and you played Texas A&M last week and lost by 17 points. And one of your touchdowns was a defensive touchdown, a fluke defensive touchdown. I don't think Auburn's going to be able to move the ball, whether it's Peyton Thorne or Robbie Ashford out there. Um, so give me Georgia minus 14 and a half. Kirby Smart's going to have these boys ready, especially after starting slow last week.
Yeah, I can't go against Georgia. I mean, they're too elite. And yeah, Peyton Thorne. Geez, I do not like Peyton Thorne at all. What time is this game?
This game is at 3:30.
And it's at Auburn. The only thing I can see happening is maybe Auburn, the fans juice them up a little bit at the beginning. They have like a good starting possession or whatever it is, but Georgia's just too good. They're too seasoned. Kirby Smart's too good of a motivator. It's easy. I saw today how much you put on that, so I know from experience that usually when you have a good lock on things, a good view on it, and you put money on it, it's a pretty good bet. So
Thank you.
I'm not
Thank
gonna
you.
jump away from you on that.
That's a good compliment.
All right. So my second game, let me pull this up. So yeah, we talked about okay. Saturday 3:30, Baylor and UCF. This is down in Central Florida, and I got it at 11 and a half. Let's see if that has changed. Going down the list. Baylor, UCF. Still at 11 and a half is the best you can do. So I'm going UCF minus 11 and a half at home. Baylor, it's their first road game this year, and they have to go down to the bounce house. Baylor's 1-3 on the season. But the big thing is they failed to cover the spread in all four games. Three losses, one push. UCF, on the other hand, yeah, they're 3-1. Tough loss last week, 44-31 to Kansas State, a game in which actually John Race Plumlee did not play. They had Timmy McClain. He was a sophomore starting in his place. Second straight week. He threw three touchdowns on 14 completions, 264 yards. Did throw a pick in that one. So, it was his second straight game. Even if he has to play a third week, I think he's got some experience going into it, and being at home against a team with their first road game is going to help him as well. I'm expecting it to be pretty raucous out there in Florida. This is UCF's first Big 12 home game. It's a great spot for them situationally, um, and also schematically. I mean, they run the ball 57% of the time against FBS opponents. They're 93rd ranked rush rate over the expected. And basically, what that means is they like to run the ball. They run it often and they run well. They're sixth in Pro Football Focus's rushing grade. Um, they have a 27. They're 27th in success rate, which means basically positive yardage on the run. Uh, and they have 33 explosive runs, which leads the nation. 6.5 yards per attempt against FBS opponents. They're not going to rely just on their rushing attack, though. They're also seventh in passing success rate. I think UCF's offense here, they're going to run and gun. They're going to throw the ball. They're going to score points. They're fifth in points per drive. They've been very successful on third and fourth downs. It was a tough loss last week to an in-state rival, uh, or that's for Baylor. I'm sorry, and they have to go down to Orlando. So Baylor, it's just been a tough year. It's going to continue to get tough. I expect UCF. I expect their running backs, Johnny Richardson, R.J. Harvey. They're going to have a big game. They're both top 10 in the Big 12 in yards per attempt, rushing grade, all that good stuff. They could have a field day on Baylor's defense. I think the crowd is going to be stoked. They're going to be up. This is that first conference home game. It's against Baylor, who everyone, Baylor's kind of that marquee matchup. Whenever they come to your place, you want to beat them. And Baylor has to go on the road for the first time and face this kind of an offense after struggling early in the year. Man, it's going to be tough. I'm taking UCF. It's 11 and a half right now. Um, I mean, you could probably play this up to 13 and a half. I wouldn't take it at 14, but you played up to 13 and a half. So UCF minus 11 and a half. I think that's easy money at home.
Yeah, I- I'm indifferent to it. I'm probably gonna stay off this game completely, but I support you and John Rice Plumley, the greatest two sport athlete of our generation. John Rice Plumley.
All right, let's not say greatest of our generation,
No.
though. Jeez.
All right. I got a bet that actually is moving against me, which has me really nervous. Um, Especially since I'm about to give it out on the pod. I put a small bet on it earlier this week. At minus 6.5. So I guess I got to come back and bet it at minus 5.5 here, and that's going to be a team that upset Baylor week 1 and overcame a 3 touchdown deficit last week against Nevada to win, and that's the Texas State Bobcats. Uh, Texas State, fun fact about them, they are the second most transfer portal dominant roster in the country behind Colorado. So
Really?
this is a team that has a brand new coaching staff and literally a brand new team. Finley, their quarterback, 8 touchdowns and 1 interceptions this year. And this team, the least amount, well, they did score 13 points in their loss to UTSA, which quality loss to a quality coach and quality Texas program. But they've put up 42, 77, and 35 points in their wins. Um, they're 5.5 points over Southern Mississippi. The Southern Mississippi last week for that matter, lost to what I believe is the worst team in all of college football, and that is Arkansas State. Um, I don't know. I mean, they lost because their defense couldn't defend anybody, and if you couldn't defend Arkansas State, you're definitely not going to be able to defend this high-powered Texas State offense. They're almost averaging 500 yards a game. They're at 485 right now. Their splits are 273 passing to 212 rushing. Um, that bodes as a really bad omen for the Southern Mississippi uh, defense that gives up 202 rushing yards per game through 4 games. I mean, that might be the worst in the country. I need to double check that, but giving up 200 rushing yards a game through a quarter of the season is abysmal. Um, Coming off that fresh loss to Arkansas State last week, I have too much faith in this Texas State offense to look the other way. So I guess I will go back and double bet it, but you can catch me with Texas State minus 5.5. Simple.
There you go. Yeah, I don't really have much to say on that. Just
I mean, not everybody, like, sorry, you're not going to be rushing to go bet Texas State or to go watch the Texas State game, but, maybe just throw it on the third or fourth screen and you'll, cash that ticket later in the night.
go for it, man. Love it. Yeah, I didn't know that they were that high on the transfer portal. That's kind of crazy. Well, speaking of transfer portal, that team that you talked about being the highest one, Colorado. So I said last week I'm going to keep rolling with Colorado till they bite me. Well, when they bite me, I'm going to go against them.
Uh-oh.
So this week they got USC. Listen, this is a tough game for Colorado, especially after getting their asses kicked last week and kind of getting thrown through the grinder, especially with Oregon's social media team putting them out there on blast. But this week they got USC. This is going to be a tough game for them. I believe this is this noon in Colorado?
It's 10 a.m. in Colorado.
It's noon here, so it's 10, yeah, it's 10 a.m. game in Colorado. That kind of scares me a little bit. But I'm not playing a total on the game. Instead, I'm playing a total with USC. So I got two. I'm trying to think here. I got two ways to go about this right now, and I'm just looking at DraftKings because I couldn't find team total comparisons anywhere else. But right now, I'm looking at team totals for USC. They got a game total 48 and a half. The first half total for USC is 24 and a half. I feel like I want to take that first half total against USC, but you know what? Let's go with the team total for the game over 48 and a half USC. Here's the reason why. That first half, you really, because of the new rules with the clock, um, it could be the matter of winning a coin toss that shifts this where, USC gets 7 more points and a half. And I don't want to, I don't want to constrict myself to just one half of football. Give me two halves. I mean, the total for this game set at 73 and a half. Colorado's a 14-point dog. USC has Caleb Williams. They have a good offense. Colorado's got a terrible defense. Like I said at the beginning, whatever game they play in is going to be a shootout. Um, if Colorado's offense comes back with a vengeance, like they should
Hmm.
after playing last week, then it turns into that true shootout, right?
Yes.
And who's the coach for USC?
Sark.
Yeah.
Or what an idiot,
Sark,
Lincoln
huh?
Riley.
Sark.
Dude, Sark.
I
Sark
was
used to
looking
be
at
the
you. You
coach of
said that with such
the
confidence, and I'm like,
I
oh
was
yeah, what? What?
looking at some a Texas thing on
Jesus.
here. Yeah, that was terrible.
Right, but we know if it's a shootout, man, he's going to let Caleb Williams go to town because he sees right now that Michael Penix is kind of catching everyone's eye in that Heisman race. He needs Caleb Williams. Let's keep you relevant. What better way to stay relevant than throwing up? How many points did Colorado score on them last week? Or what was the exact? Well, we know that Colorado scored a shit ton of points on them last week. Caleb Williams is going to want to do that again this week. USC's 55 points a game. I mean, that's absurd. And the fact that Colorado's defense can't stop anybody, that's I'm iffy on the first half just because if Colorado wins the toss and they take the ball, or if USC wins the toss and they defer, it could be the difference between 7 points. I'm going to go with the full game total on this one. It's USC team total 48 and a half. That's where I got it at DraftKings. You might be able to shop around and get something else. Um, but I think USC scores 50 points easy in this game. But it's going to help us if Colorado puts up some kind of fight. But even if they go out and they still lay an egg and they're not scoring points, then I still put the floor at 50 points for USC as a team. I think they score. So I think this is easy again. It's USC team total 48 and a half for the full game.
Okay.
I couldn't find any other line. Like I had to actually go into the other books, so I couldn't find if there's anything else available out there. But I don't know if that changes either. So USC team total. It's gonna be a
I like it.
lot of points.
That's a good bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
I like
you.
a bet. I'm really interested to see how that game goes on Saturday. All right. I'm going back to what I know for my third pick. If there's anything that I know, it's West Virginia football.
That's right.
Um, and for that reason, we're going under. Our offense sucks. Doesn't matter what quarterback's in, starting, backup. It really has no effect on the actual game. But what I do know is that the defense is freaking awesome. Held Texas Tech last week to 13 points. Held Pitt the week before to 6. Um, held Penn State to 31, minus that one stupid touchdown they ran at the end. Um, TCU can score, which is good. But I don't think they'll be able to put up too much on Mountaineers here. This total's sitting at 52 and a half. I am gonna go under just because I don't see I see this game maybe at worst ending like a 35-17, and that lands at 52.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get
Good
under,
math.
yeah, thank you. That was quick. But 35-17, that's kind of where I see this game maxed out at, and that's still below the total. I don't really see West Virginia's offense doing anything here. Garrett Green got hurt. He's West Virginia's starting quarterback during the Pitt game, and so Nico Miracle, former Mr. Arizona high school football player of the year, started in his first career game for the Mountaineers last week, and get this stat line: 12 for 21
Okay.
for 78 yards, one touchdown, and two interceptions.
Yikes.
I'm going under. Okay. CJ Donaldson Jr., West Virginia is probably best player on their offense. Their starting running back. He is a little banged up. So I see they'll probably just feed him the ball, run this clock down because they're gonna try to eat up as much clock as possible, especially when it comes to playing Texas Tech because they'll just go up and down the field all day. Or Texas TCU. Sorry, there's too. I'm
Jeez.
talking about way
There's
too many
way too
Texas
many
teams.
Texas teams.
Yeah, that's another hot take I have. Maybe we should send some death threats to some Texas teams
God,
to,
who the
to
fuck
shut those
death
programs down.
threats, man?
But no, all in all, West Virginia's gonna not be able to move the ball that well, and they're gonna try to eat up a lot of clock. Give me under 250, under 52 and a half here.
52 and a half, yeah.
Yeah,
You got the math right.
and ban at least 5 Texas teams.
Death threats. Jeez. We did have some people say that you had some of the hottest take. You probably had the hottest take of the year a few weeks back.
I stand by it.
Yeah, I know you do. I wouldn't expect anything less. All right.
You have any? Do you have one more?
No, I hit my three. I do have
Okay.
a money line pick. Uh, well, actually, I have a under pick as well. Again, this is not an official pod pick. This is a nice little funder bet if you're into that sort of thing. Iowa plays Michigan State this week. I mean, if there's a game that's going to go under, it's Iowa Michigan State. Michigan State is just in absolute turmoil, dude. It's bad. Now they have to play a team that their defense is awesome and they're not going to score. Listen, they'll shut out Michigan State. I firmly believe that. I'm trying to find the game here because the total that I had was 36 and a half. Yeah, so the total's at 36 and a half. Iowa will shut out Michigan State. Michigan State will not score, so I don't think Iowa will score more than 36 points. I'm taking the under in that game. And then find me South Alabama because that's my money line. Where are you, South Alabama? Mm-mm-mm. While I look for South Alabama, did you have anything on the card that, or on this weekend slate that kind of jumped out to you?
Yeah, I took a lot, but I took a lot of CLV earlier in the week. So, but I'll just run down what some of the small bets I have. So, not official pod plays, but things I've played earlier in the week at better numbers. Um, I got Cal minus 10.5. That's at minus 12. I got Oregon at minus 24.5. That's up to minus 27. I took Syracuse at plus 7.5. That's only around 7 or 6.5, but you will not find a 7.5 anywhere still. So that's a good number play. Utah, I got it plus 3.5. That's actually ticked back up to 3.5. So you can still maybe find a juice one of those. I got Texas Tech minus 8. That's at minus 10 now. And I got Georgia Southern minus 6. That's at 6.5. Florida at 3. And that you cannot find a 3. That'll be at 2.5 now. I'm not going to play an official funder, but I have one for you.
Oh, I love it. What is it?
And I did take this, but not an official pod play.
Unofficial. This is not official, everyone.
Unofficial pod play.
Unofficial.
Unofficial funder.
Under.
Sam Houston State, Jacksonville State, under 36.5.
Good. Both of our games had 36 and a half points. Let's do it. We're
Let's
going to
go.
hit both of those under. That's awesome.
Oh, unofficial funder parlay.
Ooh. Ooh.
Copyright that.
Yeah, we're doing that for sure. I'm playing yours and mine. So that South Alabama money line, I can get them. They're going up against James Madison, who, I mean, James Madison's been one of the teams that, people are getting behind this year. South Alabama has, you can get plus 145 at BetMGM. They're on the road to face James Madison. I like South Alabama in that one. That's a money line. Another pick that I kind of circled was the Indiana Maryland game. I'm taking the over in that. What did I have? I got it at 50. I don't know if it's moved at all, but Indiana, Maryland. I like Maryland's offense a lot, man. I don't know what it is. It's
Good coach, good
Tagovailoa,
quarterback. Yeah.
but man, their offense, they could be kind of scary. But I like the total in that. I like it to go over. I had it at 50. It stays at 50. Yeah, you can get 50 everywhere. It's open there. It's stayed there. I think that's a good sign for us. Then let me just look down the list, see if there's anything else that kind of pops out. Thursday games. Well, now that we got Jackson State, Sam Houston State, I'm gonna play that. Friday, you got Louisville, NC State. Not really. Penn State, Northwestern.
I'm not touching that game.
Dude, that's too high. Yeah. If anything, I'd look to see what the first half would look like, but I'm not. I'm staying away from that. Clemson, Syracuse. I might take Syracuse plus the points in that game. 6.5.
But I got it at 7.5.
Yeah, you're right.
Key number. I'd be worried. I just put a small bet on Syracuse because one,
Yeah, they're
I'll
home.
take that hook with the touchdown, but two, Clemson does really struggle in the whatever dome, the orange dome at
It's a
Syracuse.
weird place, man.
Yeah,
It's a
tough place to
weird
play.
place. It is, but it's weird. Anything else here? Georgia Tech's favored. No, I'm good with that. I already took Baylor, UCF, Michigan, Nebraska. I've heard a lot of people talk about Nebraska keeping this game close, but I don't see it. I'm probably going to take Michigan in a blowout in that one. They're 18 point. Well, it's at 17 now. I'd take Michigan. Georgia's there. Any late games we want to see? Oregon, Stanford. That might be a. Hmm. I take the over in that. Over 61. Oregon, Stanford. Iowa State, Oklahoma. I don't know. I don't know what to think of Oklahoma. Notre Dame, Duke. I take Notre Dame. They're at 5.5 right now. I take Notre Dame to cover that. I think their offense is. Listen, the reason that they were not able to get anything going last week was because you took away the deep ball from Sam Hartman. And it was just because Jim Knowles he loves his zone defense. I think Sam Hartman can pick Duke apart this week. So I'll take Notre Dame and the points easy in that one. I like Sam Hartman, man. He's a good quarterback.
He's a pro quarterback.
Yeah. Washington, Arizona,
Is that? Oh man, I can't wait to. I mean, we're on Michael Penix watch right now for
100%.
over
So
37 and 50 and a half yards.
I'm taking Washington and the points in that, dude.
Okay, is that an official pod play?
No, but I'm 17 and a
We're just
half for
running through
sure.
the board. I'll give a couple quick ones.
That's it for me.
I'm
That's
interested, just games I'm interested to see what happens. I mean, I did take Georgia Southern -6 over Coastal. I like that. I am interested to see what Oklahoma does to Iowa State this week. It's the best team they've played so far, so that's not saying much. So I'm excited to see what if Oklahoma is actually a good football team or not. I did have a small bet on them. Oh, you know what's going to be a good game? Hawaii UNLV.
I cannot get excited for a Hawaii game.
See, I can't. I can get excited for U8's Pop Warner football. So
I know, but there's something about watching Hawaii. It just kind of puts me to sleep. I don't know why.
and Battle of the I couldn't think of anything. Battle of the worst. Arkansas State versus UMass. I'm pumped for this. I did actually take over 55.5 in this game.
Okay.
Arkansas State can't stop anything. So I don't care if UMass plays their fourth string quarterback. They're going to put up enough points to go over 55.5.
All right.
That's all for me. I mean, pretty off week. Your Buckeyes don't play.
Yeah.
Couple good. I mean, I'm excited for your pick on Friday night. That'll be a
Thank you.
good start to the week.
Yeah. So real quick to recap, Oregon State -3. That's a Friday night game. That's also Billy's best bet, and Fuji's excited about it. That's got to be a good sign, right? UCF -11.5 against Baylor at home. That's Saturday 3:30, and then the USC team total over 48.5 against Colorado. Moneyline sprinkle South Alabama and Thunder, Iowa, Michigan State under 36.5. What's your card? Your official
My official card, only three plays. The three plays are Georgia -14.5, Texas State -5.5, and WVU TCU under 52.5.
There we go. That's week 5. We're getting into it. Conference play. You know what? Go ahead and tell them the socials so we can wrap this puppy up and get into football.
All right, follow Dan at dposk13 DPOSK13 on Twitter. Follow me at Fuji Bets on Twitter. We'll tweet back. You can talk as much shit to me as you want. And then follow the pod, CFP underscore pod, all on Twitter or
And
X,
X, yeah,
X videos.
Jesus. And you can get the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, really. You can go Spotify. We're on YouTube. Basically, everywhere you could think of, we are there. Like, subscribe, follow, share with your friends. Let us know what you think of Fuji's hot takes of the week. We're going to get some stuff riled up. I'm going to try to get Billy to give us some Premier League plays so that if you're ever in the market to win some soccer bets, he's the best to do it. But yeah, let us know what you think. We're rolling. Podcast is positive going through week 5, so let's keep it going. You got anything else?
Oh man, let's cash some tickets and keep it rolling. I'm trying to get off of 500 here.
We'll get there. All right, man. Well, that's it for me. That's Fuji. I'm Dan. We'll see you next week.